This video will demonstrate how to create personal lines of video proposals for your clients. So first we're going to log into your website. One option is to use the login button up here at the top. Then you can click Quote Proposals. This will take you to your main quote proposal page. It's also located here as the default URL. After your url.com, it would be /quote-proposals. Or as another way, if you're logged in as an admin with the admin bar up here, you can come up to New and click Proposal. And this will go straight to the Create a Proposal page, which is the same link right here. So you can click this to create a proposal, or click here from anywhere on your site to also create a proposal. So I'll go ahead and click this now. So now we're on the quote proposal creation page on the back end of your website. First off, we'll add a title to this proposal. I typically like to call this whatever year and the type of proposal, not just the person's name. So I'll call this maybe 21, 22, home auto quotes for Sam Smith for the person's name. Now we want to put in the actual person's name, Sam Smith, and Susie Smith. So this is an alternate name. By default, your quote proposal title will be labeled this unless you want to use this as well, which I highly recommend. That way you can personalize this. Say for here example, I put in the husband and wife, Sam and Susie Smith. It's just a nice way to personalize it even more. Or maybe they have their nickname that they want to go by. You can put that in there. So definitely use this alternate name as the primary name that your client will see when they use the proposal. Then you'll put in their actual name, their first name, last name, and then email. I'm going to put my email, so that way later on when I send the email to myself, I'll show you what this email looks like. You can also send this to additional emails by clicking this toggle here. So if you want to send it to the person's wife or partner, a business partner, a board of directors, anything you want, you can add additional emails here and then just separate them by comma. I'll go ahead and delete that. So now we want to create a personal line of business. So we now move to the next tab. And you'll move across these tabs as you go through from left to right. So you can see the different types of personal lines, businesses, and commercial lines. We're going to focus in this video on the personal lines types of business. So the primary one that most people will write is the primary home. You can also add additional lines: flood, hurricane, earthquake, auto 1 and auto 2. This is set up so if you have completely different carriers, say you have your primary carrier with Progressive, the client has 4 or 5 vehicles with them, but then they also have a classic car that's insured with Hagerty. So you might want to set this as the second one. Otherwise, you just want to stick with the single auto quote. You can also add a motorcycle, umbrella, life, renters, and boat and watercraft as well. So for this example, this person wants everything, which is awesome. So next is this tab, which is your Loom video link. This would be in another video on how to create Loom videos. But once you create your video, you just simply grab the URL that's for that video in Loom, paste that link right in here. The next tab is your personal lines quotes. And you can see how I have all these empty fields here ready to start my quote proposal for each line of business. So if I came back in here to lines of business and I removed boat, watercraft, and I come back, if I scroll down here, you notice it's gone. So now homeowners quotes, they're a bit unique in that you can have multiple lines of business, your home, hurricane, flood, earthquake, on one property. And this is designed so you can add multiple properties with multiple quotes. So you could have, say, the primary home, and then its home, hurricane, flood, and then the secondary unit, or the ADU, with its home, hurricane, and flood as well. So in order to do this, we will click Add Property, put in the property address. Doesn't have to be the full address, it's just a text field. I usually just put in the street address, maybe the unit number. Then we pick the type of property that it is, whether it's a primary home, secondary home, whether it's a fire policy or a condo. I'm going to leave this as a primary home. And then we choose the effective date. And as soon as you click on this field, it opens up the date picker, and then you can just pick the date that you want it to start. And now you can see in here we have the home policy, the hurricane, the flood, and the earthquake for this property here. And we'll be able to add multiple homeowners quotes, multiple hurricane quotes, multiple flood, and multiple earthquake quotes, all in this one property. If we want to add a second property, say it's for the secondary unit, we can click Add New Property. And now you can have two properties here, each with their own sets of quotes for their lines of business. So we'll click Add Home Quote, put in the carrier name, the premium, and then whether or not this is a favorite. Favorite means this is the policy that you will recommend. You'll see this later when I show you on the front end of the quote proposal. This policy or this proposal, will be the one that will be outlined in green. This would be the one that you recommend to your client. So then we can put in the coverages, earthquake or hurricane endorsements. This would be the actual endorsement versus a hurricane or earthquake policy. So endorsement or separate policy. And then we'll put in the coverages. Now we have our default limits for our liability, MedPay, and deductible. Now we have optional endorsements in here. Now this is customizable for you as well for your agency and depending on the states that you write. These are just the most common ones that come with the proposals. If there's anything that you want specifically, just let Gravity Search know, just reach out to us and we can easily add any sort of extra endorsements in here that you write for your policies. And then this field is just like a notes field, an extra text field. You can add anything you want in here. So if there's additional endorsements or coverages or anything related to this quote that's not in these default fields, feel free to add this in here. Now here you have 3 additional fields for adding files. You can upload the actual carrier quote if you want to attach that. And then you can also add a couple more additional files, whether that's the RCE or something else you might want to upload as well, maybe a specific form from the underwriter or something. Now I want to add an additional quote because we quoted this home with multiple carriers. So now I click Add Home Quote. So now we have 2 quotes added to this quote proposal. We have one from Travelers and another one from Progressive. This one has a little bit better coverages and it's a little bit cheaper. That's why I checked this one as favorite. If Travelers was the better rate to go with, I would have chosen this one as my favorite. But as it is, this one's better coverage at the cheaper price. So we'll go ahead and make this one a favorite. Now we have their hurricane. We'll add their other hurricane policy. Now you'll see as you open up and click the policy types that you want to add, this information changes based on what you have. So hurricane, you have your percent deductibles. We have extended replacement costs on the dwelling, the personal property, and any other additional information you might have. And again, you have multiple upload fields here for your files. So now I'll add the flood quote. You have your coverages and then the additional information text field, which in this case I wrote that the policy is written through FEMA. As just a note to the client. So you can add coverages, endorsements, notes to the client, your recommendations, basically anything that you want to add to the client regarding the quote, feel free to add it there. It really helps sometimes to describe the coverage or what's happening with the quote here. Then we'll add an earthquake quote. And then again with the different property or the earthquake coverages. So now we have one earthquake quote from Progressive, two flood quotes, one from Selecta, one from Palomar, one hurricane quote from HIG, and two homeowners quotes, one from Travelers, one from Progressive. And that's all for this one property. Now we could do the same thing for the secondary unit right here and add the additional quotes for this one. I'm going to go ahead and skip this. We can click here, remove row, then confirm, and this will remove that secondary unit. Now we can move on to the next quotes right here. All the coverage information is in here by default. Defaults to 12-month, 500 comp, 1,000 collision, 100, 300 limits, MedPay, PIP, rental car. Any of this we can set as your defaults or change any of these depending on what you see fit for your agency. That way you don't have to come in here and manually change these every time. We can set these as defaults just to make it a lot quicker for you. So that's one quote here. And again, you can click add auto quote to add more quotes. Motorcycle quote. And again, we can keep working down through all of these, and they all display the coverages based on what you choose. So I'm going to skip these. These are really similar. The renters is similar to the home. The umbrella is really basic as well. So now that all these quotes are finished, we'll scroll up to the top and click Publish. Now that your proposal is saved, now you can go ahead and view your proposal by clicking View Proposal up here in the admin bar. And here's what your proposal will look like. So we have Sam Smith and Susie Smith, then your agent, this would be the agent name, and then the lines of business. And you can see how the homeowners quote is grouped here by the property. We have the home, hurricane, flood, and earthquake. If we added a secondary property as well, say that ADU, then we would have another box with the address and all the information here as well. And then the other lines of business. And these are all jump links. So you can see how this jumps to the different lines of business. So now we have our quote proposal that was ready to view by the client. See that how this one was the chosen one, we toggled this one as favorite. So this is the chosen one that we want the client to go with. And then as you do your video proposal, you can talk about the coverages, mention any additional information that may be in here. You can click on the links to the proposals, those would be in here listed as well. Any additional endorsements, and then you can scroll down and see all the quotes and the coverages for each line of business. Now you notice since some of these quote proposals only have one quote, they are highlighted in green. So by default, if there's only one quote for a line of business, we obviously want that person to go with that quote. So this one is highlighted in green. So what happens is a person clicks, I want to move forward. Then all the highlighted green proposals will be listed here, showing the premium, the carrier, and yes, they want to move forward with all of this. So by default, proposal or a line of business is set to yes, because we're assuming they want to go with all the insurance that you propose for them. They can also come in here and change the effective date. Maybe their home closing is going to change to the 28th and they needed the policy to start then. So they can come in here and put that in and change the dates. They can also add any additional comments or questions. Say, everything looks good, I just want to do a $500 deductible on my auto instead of $1,000. So they can put that information in here. Then the person clicks accept, and then you will get an email to go ahead and send them the apps to sign, collect payment, bind all the policies, and now you have a new client with lots of lines of business. Or they can also click I have questions or changes. This is if they don't really understand the quotes, or they really want to make a lot of coverage changes. They can type whatever they want in here and click ask a question, and then the agent will get an email about what the client asked in here. Down here, this will be your agent profile picture, your name, your tagline, and then your social media and your ways to get a hold of you. So up here, you can, after you add your Loom video link, the Loom video will sit right here, right underneath all your lines of business. That way they see this page, they see all the lines of business, and then they can click to view your video proposal. There'll be another video on how to do a Loom video, some best practices on how to actually do the video, how to talk to your clients about your coverages. But you basically would just talk to them like you would if you were talking to them in person, and then going over the quote proposal by just scrolling down and showing them the coverages, talking stories on when these coverages and when a policy coverage might kick in. So now that this is done, we're also going to email this proposal to the client. So that's done right up here by clicking email to client. Now they will get an email with the link to this proposal. And this is just to make sure that the proposal is correct. You have the correct name, first name, last name, and email. And if you put any additional emails in, it will also be sent here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click send proposal to client. And now this is sent to the client. So now let's go ahead and take a look at that proposal email and see how it looks from the client's perspective. So here's our email that we received from the client. It says their first name, your insurance quotes are ready. And all of this in this email is customizable on the back end of your website. So you can come in here and edit any of this as you see fit. But it's going to default to hello, their first name, your insurance quotes are available. Please click the link to view your quotes, has the link to the quote proposal, and let us know if you have any questions. And then it has your agency name, address, your contact information, and link to your website. So now we want to see what the client sees on their proposal. And this is what the client will see. It will say, to view your proposal, please enter your email address. Make sure to use the same email address your agent sent your proposal to. Now the person does not need to create an account in order to view the proposal. It simply needs to match the email address that you put in the proposal. That way there's a bit of a layer of security, just so that not anybody can come in here and view this person's proposal, but they need to put in the correct email address. So now I'm the client viewing the proposal. You can see there's less buttons up here. They have the option to print or log out, and then they can view the proposal, scroll down, click I want to move forward, and click I accept. Now the user has accepted your proposal, and now you'll also get an email notification as the agent knowing that they want to move forward with purchasing the policies.